Hey guys, it's Archuleta. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you 5 common myths about writing poetry. If you have not done so already, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you like this video and leave me a comment down below. Now, let's get into it. It's no secret that when we talk about money-making genres, that poetry is down on the list. It's not exactly, the money-making genre. The level of success as a poet, it really varies. I mean, you do have your very successful poets out there, but, for the most part, it just really does not happen for us. There are common myths about writing poetry that I want to share with you, and I've come up with some ways to combat those. The first common myth about writing poetry is that your book has to be long. No, your book does not have to be long. Traditional poetry books, when we're talking about a full collection, can have at least 50 pages. So I've seen 50, 60, 70 plus pages in a full collection poetry book. But if you don't have a full collection, you can publish what's called a chapbook. A chapbook has sometimes only 12 to 15 pages. Now that's not necessarily 12 to 15 poems, but that's the number of pages in your chapbook. So if you don't have a full collection ready and you still want to share your work, you can do so through a chapbook. And when you do have a full collection ready to go, you can include those poems from your chapbook into your full collection. So you don't have to have a long book in order to publish. The second myth about writing poetry is that the market is too saturated. And that's just not true. And I'll give you a great example of what I'm talking about. When you go into the grocery store, and I just went into the grocery store yesterday, walking down the bread aisle, you have so many types of breads. You have brown bread, you have wheat bread, you have white bread, you have potato bread. You have all kinds of different breads, different brands, and none of them are hurting. All of them are being sold, especially during this time. But the market is never to a place where you can't have a seat at the table. People need to hear your poetry in the way that you present it. So never get caught up on the market being oversaturated. The third common myth about writing poetry is that no one will read your work. And that's just not true. People will read your work if you let them know that you have work. This is just something that's real simple. People will not know that you have work to read unless you tell them. So you have to learn how to promote yourself in various ways so that people know that you have work or that you have a book to read. The fourth common myth about writing poetry is that your book will not sell. And this goes back to what I just said about no one will read your work. That if no one knows that you have a book, then it won't sell. People have to know that you have a book so that they can buy it. And this is where you have to get comfortable with promoting yourself. This is where you have to create the proper messaging for your audience and know who your audience is. And then between your website, between social media, and all the other outlets, you have to become comfortable with promoting yourself, promoting your work. Let people know that you have a book so that they can buy it. If no one knows that you've written something, they won't know where to go and actually purchase your work. The fifth common myth about writing poetry is that it's been so long that you should just forget it. It just wasn't meant for you to do. Now, that is completely false. that is just an excuse. Sometimes we get into a valley where we think that, you know, it's too late for me, I've missed my chance, I'm too old, no one's gonna read my work, no one's gonna care, what do I have to talk about? All of these are excuses, and they're based on fear. And so overcoming that fear releases us from all those excuses and allows us to focus on what we do, and that is writing, and that's writing poetry. No one can write poetry the way that you do. So regardless of how many other people out there are writing poetry, someone needs to hear your poetry in the way that you're telling it, the story that you're giving. So never focus on excuses. You can do whatever it is that you want to do.